Story 1, Barbarian General. We won again. This is good. But what is best in life? Warrior. The open steppe, the fleet horse, falcons on your wrist, the wind in your hair. General, wrong. Conan, what is best in life? Conan. To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women. Barbarian General. That is good. Story 2. I loved you in Wall Street. Charlie and Martin sheen to each other in hot shots. Bardou. Story 3. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. One time we had a hill bombed for 12 hours. When it was all over, I walked up. We didn't find one of them. Not one stinkin' dink body. You know that gasoline smell? The whole hill smelled like victory. Someday this war's gonna end. Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore, Robert Duvall. Apocalypse Now. Story 4. It's a hell of a thing killing a man. Take away all he has, and all he is ever going to have. Story 5. In a thick Gloucester accent. No luck catching those killers then? It's just the one killer, actually. Story 6. I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 1990s. Story 7. Well, sir, you are a cowardly son of a bitch. You just shot an unarmed man. Well, he should have armed himself if he is going to decorate his saloon with my friend. Story 8. I'd ask you about love. You'd probably quote me a sonnet. But you've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. Never known someone who could level you with her eyes, make you feel like God put an angel on earth just for you, someone who could rescue you from the depths of hell. And you wouldn't know what it's like to be her angel, to have that love for her, to be there forever through anything, through cancer. You wouldn't know about sitting up in the hospital room for 2 months, holding her hand, because the doctors could see in your eyes that the term visiting hours doesn't apply to you. You don't know about real loss because, Story 9. I'm tired, boss. I'm weary of being on the road, lonely as a sparrow in the rain. I'm tired of never having a buddy to tell me where we're going, where we're coming from, or why. Mostly, I'm tired of people being ugly to each other. I'm drained by all the pain I feel and hear in the world every day. There's too much of it. It's like pieces of glass in my head all the time. Can you understand? Story 10. I love rumors. Facts can be so misleading. Where rumors, true or false, are often revealing. Christoph Waltz. Edit. Obviously, I am referring to the lesser-known Christoph Waltz who coined the phrase and was only later referenced in the movie. You can stop correcting me now. Story 11. It's too bad she won't live. But then again, who does? There are so many good lines in Blade Runner. Story 12. Hey, try not to suck any dick on your way through the parking lot. Story 13. Who said that? Who the fuck said that? Who's the slimy little communist shit? Twinkle-toed cocksucker down there who just signed his own death warrant. Nobody. Huh? The fairy fucking godmother said it. Out fucking standing. I'll put you all through physical training until you fucking die. I'll put you through physical training until your assholes are sucking buttermilk. Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, Full Metal Jacket. Story 14. The thing is, Bob, it's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care. Office Space. Story 15. All I have in this world are my balls and my word, and I do not break them for anyone. Story 16. We train young men to drop fire on people, but their commanders will not allow them to write fuck on their airplanes because it is obscene. Story 17. You are not going to believe this, but you used to fit right here. He gestures to the palm of his hand. I would hold you up to say to your mother, this child is going to be the best kid in the world. This child is going to be somebody better than anybody I ever knew. And you grew up good and wonderful. It was great just watching you. Every day was a privilege. Then the time came for you to be your own man and take on the world, and you did. But somewhere along the line you changed. You stopped being yourself. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you are no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world is not all sunshine and rainbows. It is a very mean and nasty place, and I do not care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it is not about how hard you hit. It is about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. That is how winning is done. Now, if you know what you are worth, then go out and get what you are worth. But you have to be willing to take the hits and not point fingers saying you are not where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that is not you. You are better than that. I am always going to love you no matter what happens. You are my son and you are my blood. You are the best thing in my life. But until you start believing in yourself, you are not going to have a life. Rocky Balboa. Story 18. Robert Shaw as Quint in Jaws gave the greatest monologue of all time. A Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into our side. Chief. It was coming back from the island of Tini and Leyte just delivered the bomb, the Hiroshima bomb. 1,100 men went into the water. The vessel went down in 12 minutes. We didn't see the first shark for about half an hour. Tiger. 13-footer. You know that when you're in the water, Chief? You tell by looking from the dorsal to the tail. Well, we didn't know. Because our bomb mission had been so secret, no distress signal had been sent. They didn't even list us overdue for a week. At first light, Chief, the sharks came cruising. So we formed ourselves into tight groups. It's kind of like old squares in battle, like you see on a calendar, like the Battle of Waterloo. The idea was the shark nearest a man, and then he'd start pounding and hollering and screaming, and sometimes the shark would go away. Sometimes he wouldn't go away. Sometimes that shark looks right into you, right into your eyes. The thing about a shark is he's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, he doesn't seem to be living, until he bites you and those black eyes roll over white. And then you hear that terrible high-pitched screaming and the ocean turns red, and in spite of all the pounding and the hollering, they all come in and rip you to pieces. By the end of that first dawn, we had lost 100 men. I don't know how many sharks, maybe 1,000. I don't know how many men. They averaged 6 an hour. On Thursday morning, Chief, I bumped into a friend of mine, Herbie Robinson from Cleveland, baseball player, bosom mate. I thought he was asleep and reached over to wake him up. He bobbed up and down in the water just like a kind of top upside down. Well, he'd been bitten in half below the waist. At noon on the 5th day, Mr. Hooper in a Lockheed Ventura saw us. He swung in low. He had a young pilot, a lot younger than Mr. Hooper. Anyway, he saw us and came in low. And 3 hours later, a big fat consolidated PBY Catalina patrol bomber came down and started to pick us up. You know, that was the time I was most frightened, waiting for my turn. I will never put on a life jacket again. So 1,100 men went in the water, 316 men came out. The sharks took the rest. June 29th, 1945. Anyway, we delivered the bomb. Story 19. Remember, Red, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. Andy Dufresne, The Shawshank Redemption. Story 20. Evil Ash. You won't shoot me because you're good. I'm Evil Ash and you're good Ash. You're a goody two-shoes. Ash shoots Evil Ash with his shotgun. Ash good, bad, I'm the guy with the gun. Story 21. Well, John wasn't exactly the boogeyman. He was the one you sent to kill the fucking boogeyman. Story 22. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Story 23. You have got to be the worst pirate I have ever heard of. But you have heard of me. Captain Jack Sparrow. Story 24. When King Lear dies in Act 5, do you know what Shakespeare has written? He has written he dies. No more, no fanfare, no metaphor, no brilliant final words. The culmination of the most influential piece of dramatic literature is simply, he dies. Now, I am not asking you to be happy at my leaving, but all I ask is that you turn the page and let the next story begin. Mr. Megorium, Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. Story 25. It's a little bit cheesy, but the ship is made of iron, sir. I assure you it can sink. Story 26. What we have here is a failure to communicate. Some men you just cannot reach. So you get what we had here last week, which is the way he wants it. Well, he gets it. Story 27. I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. Bilbo. Story 28. In the beginning, the universe was created. This made a lot of people very angry and was widely regarded as a bad move. Story 29. You have to know, not fear, that someday you are going to die. Fight Club. I've always found this line very liberating. Story 30. Punches the Nazi and throws him out of the window. No ticket. Story 31. It's like the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were, and sometimes you did not want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end it was only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines it will shine all the clearer. I know now that the folks in those stories had many chances to turn back, only they did not. They kept going because they were holding on to something. That there is some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it is worth fighting for. Samwise Gamgee. Story 32. None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me. Story 33. I guess you're right, Plankton. I'm just a kid. I've been through a lot in the past 6 days, 5 minutes, and 27.5 seconds. If I've learned anything during that time, it's that you are who you are. No amount of mermaid magic, a managerial promotion, or any other change can make me anything more than what I really am inside. A kid. But that's okay because I did what everyone said a kid couldn't do. I made it to Shell City, beat the Cyclops, rode the Hasselhoff, and brought the crown back. Story 34. He punched the highlights out of her hair. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Story 35. Doc Holliday. Because Wyatt Earp is my friend. Posse member. Hell, I have lots of friends. Doc Holliday. I don't. Story 36. Strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Story 37. Many who live deserve death, and some who die deserve life. Can you give it to them? Then do not be too eager to deal out death in judgment. Story 38. Do you think God stays in heaven because he, too, lives in fear of what he has created here on earth? Story 39. You do not peddle 500 million pounds of candy without killing a few children. Story 40. I am leaving soon, and you will forgive me if I speak bluntly. The universe grows smaller every day, and the threat of aggression by any group anywhere can no longer be tolerated. There must be security for all, or no one is secure. This does not mean giving up any freedom except the freedom to act irresponsibly. Your ancestors knew this when they made laws to govern themselves and hired police officers to enforce them. We, of the other planets, have long accepted this principle. We have an organization for the mutual protection of all planets and for the complete elimination of aggression. The test of any such higher authority is, of course, the police force that supports it. For our police officers, we created a race of robots. Their function is to patrol planets in spaceships like this one and preserve the peace. In matters of aggression, we have given them absolute power over us. This power cannot be revoked. At the first sign of violence, they act automatically against the aggressor. The penalty for provoking their action is too terrible to risk. The result is we live in peace without arms or armies, secure in the knowledge that we are free from aggression and war, free to pursue more profitable enterprises. We do not pretend to have achieved perfection, but we do have a system and it works. I came here to give you these facts. It is no concern of ours how you run your own planet, but if you threaten to extend your violence, this earth of yours will be reduced to a burned-out cinder. Your choice is simple. Join us and live in peace, or pursue your present course and face obliteration. We shall be waiting for your answer. The decision rests with you. Klaatu ending speech, The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951. Story 41. Not all treasure is silver and gold, mate. Captain Jack Sparrow. Story 42. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to convince the world he did not exist. Story 43. For you, that day was the most important of your life. For me, it was just a Tuesday. My first Reddit award. Thank you, stranger. Story 44. Walter Sobchak. You want a tow? I can get you a tow, believe me. There are ways, dude. You do not want to know about it. Story 45. And in the end, I think I learned the final lesson from my travels in time. I even went one step further than my father. The truth is I no longer travel back at all, not even for a day. I try to live every day as if I have deliberately returned to this one day to enjoy it, as if it were the final day of my extraordinary, ordinary life. We are all traveling through time together every day of our lives. All we can do is our best to relish this remarkable ride. Story 46. You get hurt, hurt them back. You get killed, walk it off. Steve Rogers. Story 47. Andy Dufresne crawled through a river of shit and came out clean on the other side. Story 48. There's a passage I have memorized. Ezekiel 25 verse 17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee. I've been saying that for years. If you heard it, that meant you. I never gave much thought to what it meant. I just thought it was some cold-blooded thing to say to a motherfucker before I popped a cap in his ass. But I saw some shit this morning that made me think twice. See, now I'm thinking maybe it means you're the evil man and I'm the righteous man. And Mr. 9mm here, he's the shepherd protecting my righteous ass in the valley of darkness. Or it could mean you're the righteous man and I'm the shepherd, and it's the world that's evil and selfish. I'd like that, but that ain't the truth. The truth is you're the weak, and I'm the tyranny of evil men. But I'm trying, Ringo. I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd. Story 49. William Parrish. Love is passion, obsession, someone you cannot live without. I say fall head over heels. Find someone you can love like crazy who will love you the same way back. How do you find him? Well, you forget your head and listen to your heart. I am not hearing any heart. The truth is, honey, there is no sense in living your life without this. To make the journey and not fall deeply in love, well, you have not lived at all. But you have to try, because if you do not try, you have not lived. Meet Joe Black. Story 50. Choose life. A job, a career, a family, a fucking big television, washing machines, cars, compact disc players and electric tin openers, good health, low cholesterol and dental insurance, fixed interest mortgage repayments and a starter home, friends, leisurewear and matching luggage, a three-piece suit on hire purchase in a range of fucking fabrics, do-it-yourself projects and wondering who the fuck you are on Sunday morning, sitting on a couch watching mind-numbing, spirit-crushing game shows, stuffing fucking junk food into your mouth, rotting away at the end of it all, pissing your last in a miserable home, nothing more than an embarrassment to the selfish, fucked up brats you spawned to replace yourselves. Choose your future. Choose life. But why would I want to do a thing like that? I chose not to choose life. I chose something else. And the reasons? There are no reasons. Who needs reasons when you've got heroin? Story 51. Priest. Ask yourself if that corpse of a slut is worth dying for. Marv worth dying for. Gunshot. Marv worth killing for. Gunshot. Marv worth going to hell for. Gunshot. Marv amen. He blows the smoke off the gun. Story 52. He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy. I'm sorry I didn't do any of it right. I'm damn lucky you're my boy. Yondu, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Story 53. Captain Haddock. All right then, Tintin, what's the plan? Tintin. There is no plan. Captain Haddock. Of course there's a plan. You've always got a plan. Tintin. Not this time. Sakharine has the scrolls. They'll lead them to the treasure. They could be anywhere in the world. We'll never see him again. It's over. Captain Haddock. I thought you were an optimist. Tintin, you were wrong, weren't you? I'm a realist. Captain Haddock. Ah, that's just another name for a quitter. Tintin, call me what you like. Don't you get it? We failed. Captain Haddock. Failed. Many will call you a failure, a fool, a loser, a hopeless souse. Don't you ever say that about yourself. You send the wrong signal. That is what people pick up. Don't you understand? You care about something, you fight for it. You hit a wall, you push through it. There's something you need to know about failure, Tintin. You can never let it defeat you. Story 54. Life is pain. Anyone who tells you differently is trying to sell you something. Story 55. I have seen things you people would not believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Partially improvised on set by Rutger Hauer. Rest in peace. Story 56. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop to look around once in a while, you might miss it. Story 57. So if I asked you about art, you'd probably give me the skinny on every art book ever written. Michelangelo, you know a lot about him, his life's work, political aspirations, his relationship with the Pope, sexual orientation, the whole works, right? But I'll bet you can't tell me what it smells like in the Sistine Chapel. You've never actually stood there and looked up at that beautiful ceiling. If I ask you about women, you'd probably give me a syllabus about your personal favorites. You may have even been with a few, but you can't tell me what it feels like to wake up next to a woman and feel truly happy. You're a tough kid. If I asked you about war, you'd probably throw Shakespeare at me. Once more unto the breach, dear friends. But you've never been near one. You've never held your best friend's head in your lap and watched him gasp his last breath looking to you for help. If I asked you about love, you'd probably quote me a sonnet. But you've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable, known someone who could level you with her eyes, feeling like God put an angel on earth just for you, who could rescue you from the depths of hell. And you wouldn't know what it's like to be her angel, to have that love for her, to be there forever, through anything, through cancer. You wouldn't know about sitting up in the hospital room for 2 months, holding her hand, because the doctors could see in your eyes that the term visiting hours doesn't apply to you. You don't know about real loss because, Story 58. Holly, I would like to cut you in, old man. There is nobody left in Vienna I can really trust, and we have always done everything together. When you make up your mind, send me a message. I will meet you any place, any time. And when we do, old man, it is you I want to see, not the police. Remember that, won't you? Do not be so gloomy. After all, it is not that awful. You know what the fellow said, in Italy, for 30 years under the Borgias they had warfare, terror, murder, and bloodshed, but they produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and the Renaissance. In Switzerland they had brotherly love and 500 years of democracy and peace, and what did that produce? The cuckoo clock. So long, Holly. The third man. Story 59. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it is not about how hard you hit. It is about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That is how winning is done. Rocky. Edit, my first reward ever. Thank you, kind stranger. Edit 2, my first gold. Best cake day ever. Thank you, kind sir. Story 60. Pardon my French, but Cameron is so tight that if you stuck a lump of coal up his ass, in 2 weeks you'd have a diamond. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Story 61. Chaos is order yet undeciphered. Enemy 2013. It is actually from the novel it is based on, but shoo. Story 62. My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix legions, loyal servant to the true Emperor Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife. And I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. From the film Gladiator. Story 63. You see, things aren't sequential. Good doesn't lead to good, nor bad to bad. People who steal don't get caught and live the good life. Others lie, cheat, and get elected. How you play the cards you're dealt, that's all that matters. John Kramer, also known as Jigsaw. Story 64. Although we enjoy men individually, We agree that as a group they're rather stupid. The Mom from Mary Poppins. Story 65. Everybody wants a happy ending, right? But it does not always roll that way. Maybe this time. I am hoping that if you play this back, it is in celebration. I hope families are reunited, we get it back, and something like a normal planet is restored, if such a thing ever existed. God, what a world. Universe now. If you had told me 10 years ago that we were not alone, let alone to this extent, I would not have been surprised, but the epic forces of dark and light that have come into play are astonishing. And for better or worse, that is the reality Morgan is going to have to grow up in. So I thought I had better record a short greeting in case of my untimely death. Not that death is ever timely. This time travel operation we are going to attempt tomorrow has me scratching my head about survivability. Then again, that is the hero gig. Part of the journey is the end. Why am I worrying? Everything is going to work out exactly the way it is supposed to. I love you 3000. Story 66. There is fuckery afoot. Best one heard recently, anyway. Story 67. The problem is not the problem, your attitude about it is. Do you understand? Story 68. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he did not exist. Story 69. Hello? My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. I never thought this was going to be my most upvoted post. Inconceivable. Story 70. Okay, I see. You think this has nothing to do with you. You go to your closet and select that lumpy, loose sweater because you are trying to tell the world that you take yourself too seriously to care about what you put on your back. What you do not know is that the sweater is not just blue or turquoise or lapis. It is cerulean. You are also unaware that in 2002 Oscar de la Renta presented a collection of cerulean gowns, and Yves Saint Laurent showed cerulean military jackets. Cerulean then quickly appeared in the collections of 8 designers, filtered down through department stores, and trickled down to some tragic casual corner, where you likely fished it out of a clearance bin. That blue represents millions of dollars and countless jobs. It is comical that you think you made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when, in fact, you are wearing a sweater selected for you by people in this room from a pile of clothes. Story 71. Donnie. Why are you wearing that stupid bunny suit? Frank. Why are you wearing that stupid man suit? Story 72. Reading all these movie quotes makes me feel happy and like I am part of something bigger than myself. Thank you all. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.